How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Live Scribbles with Jonathan. Guys, check out my website and my work at jonathanrector.com. This show's for you guys. So if you guys got any comments or questions or anything you'd like me to help you with, drawing or art related, just put it in the chat. Put it in caps so I can read it. I appreciate that. And it's good to go. You gonna make this awkward the whole time? It's that funny, is it? Oh my god. Do you like to watch? So, okay, that's great. So I've got Elena in the room and Jessup. So if you hear laughter in the background, that's why. She's making fun of me the entire time I'll be doing this. So it's like I'm in front of a classroom, except with only one person in it. So I get judged the entire time. Anyway, what we'll be working on today, unless you guys got some questions or anything, is this here is a double-page spread for that role-playing book I told you guys about. But more information will be released once we get the Kickstarter up for that. So if you guys remember the last time we worked on it, it was just this rough here, and we did a YouTube video on that. You guys can check that out too if you haven't seen it. It was I believe it was a stream, or it could have been just something that I shrunk down to about an hour, or no, sorry, 10 minutes. Fucking full retard tonight. So real quick, we'll just go over what we're looking at. That rule of thirds video we did, you can see on the screen here as well. The idea behind this is you find one point at an intersection here and put all the focus there. So on this guy, it's a face, so we usually go to the eye on a face. It's this cat right here in the front. And if you look at everything else, everything's basically pointing at it. So the girl's hand's pointing at his eye. You got all these like big sausage fest of guys here running after this other superhero. This is gonna be fun. Oh, giggles. Okay. Anyway, so we got another layer here for the pencils. This is what I'll be working on. Like I said, you're just tightening this up, and if we're lucky, we'll get to a little bit of ink action. Oh yeah, that's Elena. Everybody laughs at me, regardless whether or not you're watching me on here or right beside. It's what do we got there? Thoughts on rendering backgrounds. I should say too, there's no new article on my site. I will be posting one hopefully this week, if not this week, next week, talking about the standard, the book that I normally do. I did basically hand in my resignation, so that means I'll only be doing half of issue 6, and Will Robson, or Robson Inc. in the chat, he's filling in for the rest of issue 5 and the first half of issue 6. So I'll show some of his art as well for you guys that are interested in that. I have no idea why I even told you guys that. That's something I was going to say, but that's gone. That's cool. But, so yeah. But you can't see anything. Here, you probably see this.
That's okay.
That's okay, there you go. I know, you like to watch. It's great. Here, you can look at that.
Thanks.
But...
Don't touch me there.
Oh my god.
Okay. Ew. I don't want that.
It's yours. Just give them back. Oh crap. Okay, give me 1 second actually. Somebody had sent me an email earlier today because they wouldn't be able to make it to the stream. I told them I would address his question. So I'm just going to finish this guy's anatomy here and then we'll do that. I believe it had something to do with lighting backgrounds.
I'm not interested in Will's art.
Is that what they actually said? Ugh, that's harsh.
There you go. I could read for you.
There you go.
Myself useful.
We'll set you up with a laptop and you can start posting links in the chat for everything everybody's talking about.
Who's Pulp Cultivation?
I'm not sure. He's been in here for a while.
I should just say don't touch me there.
This is the full Canadian Raunch Hour. Brought to you by Trailer Park Boys. Looks like everybody's in here now. Alright, so let's just try to hammer out this hand. Shriver? If I'm saying his name right. Shriver? I believe it's Shriver.
I think he meant to say
Half Acre? I would say Half Acre, I'm probably butchering it. Okay, so this is fine. The background we'll get into. Ah, crap, forgot this giant hand. Are they? I should do, my brother, he does a Magic the Gathering stream, and he'll have a second camera pointing at himself while he talks. It's pretty pompous, but that way I could have a cat cam, and you guys could watch me draw on one, and you just watch the cat staring at you as I move the cursor around for an hour. Okay, so let me just get that email going, because, what? Okay, so let me get the email here. Okay, close that. Okay, cool. Hey guys. You guys purring? What you doing? Hey, you big stinks? Alright, email's loading up here. There we go. So this question was by James Milne. Apologize if I'm butchering your name there. Show content. And just let me download this here, and I will open it up here. Okay, so this was his question. Hey John, so the question is, how would you go about establishing how much black you use for a night scene in a forest when the only light source would be the moon and a flashlight? In the first 2 pages, the character does not have a torch, but only one panel. Okay, so this guy... torch, I love that. So they don't have a flashlight, I'm assuming is what he means. Is there much point to adding background elements in the 3rd panel? And note the final page will be stark black and white in grayscale instead of color. So let's open this up. Excuse me. Cut this, put it on the desktop. Zelda, come on, relax. Oh, what file is it? Alright guys, I apologize. I don't know if I'll be able to run this file here. I don't know what Scott sent me. Or James. If I can't open this file, I'll just, I guess, make a quick scene up. .exe, not gonna happen. Okay, so James, if you want me to redraw your picture, please just email me again with just a picture. I don't know if you had compressed it or something. I don't know what it's doing. But anyway, so we'll just kind of redraw it. We'll just make one up. So just make a panel here. And it was a forest with just, what would you say, a moon and a flashlight? How would you light that? That's pretty tough. Alright, well first we need the scene, so let's just try to make it somewhat fun. So we'll go ahead and do the rule of thirds again. I'll pick a spot. So we'll say right here is our focal point. It's probably a person. If they're saying they had a flashlight. And he's probably got a Transformers lunchbox because he's cool. Give him a little path to walk on. I'm gonna put a bunch of trees around him. So again, I don't know how close up this shot was, but we'll just pretend here. Alright, so one more layer. So we just kind of tighten this up just a little bit. Alright, so the first thing I like to do with this kind of stuff is, it is comic books, so try to break reality a bit. It is one thing that we're allowed to do, so you should probably do it. Unless you're going for like a realism look, in which case you probably wouldn't be talking to me. You'd probably have already read a whole bunch of books, or you'd be looking off a photograph. So we just, whoops, turn all this background noise off. Okay, so we'll put the moon up here too. Alright, so even though the moon is what would light this entire scene, his flashlight is pretty powerful. So I'm just going to keep it simple. We'll say he's, you know, that's where he's pointing the flashlight ahead of him. Now we got this giant moon behind us, so that means he's going to be covered pretty heavily in shadow. And there's nothing he has that's going to, or nothing he has that the flashlight would affect. But the moon's also going to do a little cast shadow onto him. Oh, gee, that scared the hell out of me. I was like, what the hell was that? Shit rat. It's gross. Okay. I'm just going to shade in the trees here. Now the way I'm trying to think of this, I know I'm doing it quick, but again, just thinking of how the branches are being hit. Most of them are being hit by the moon. Not really his flashlight. What? That's not what he's doing. Oh my god. Alright. It's working. No. Alright. So let's work. Trees in there. Alright, so we would have him there. Now we have his flashlight, so his cast shadow, what I would probably do, especially if we got a second light source, this light source is useless unless it's surrounded by shadow, because it is light. So even though his that could be laggy. Happens. Are you watching it or anything? I wouldn't be doing nothing, no, it's fine. Okay, so the only way light is going to get affected is based on the shadow behind it. So you could actually do this. Which kind of kills it, but it'll give it a cool look where you just fill everything in black. That is one way of doing it. Or another way would be just try to get creative a little bit with it. So we could make his cast shadow be the shadow part there. So something like that. So even though the moon is still hitting him, you've got the light. And then you could, you know, go ahead and just add some flashlight stuff. This kind of thing. But that's how I would okay, so let's try to go over this again of what I was thinking about doing this stuff. So one, know where your major light source is. So in this case it is the moon. And then your secondary light sources, which could be anything. In this case it's the flashlight here. It actually casts a more powerful light source than the moon does. But try to get creative with it in a way that you can stack your shadows. To get into the actual detail work, I really wouldn't worry about it too much. The most detail you're going to worry about are these little suckers here. Like the branches and the leaves. So you might just draw it like this a little bit, depending on the detail you want to get in there, and then the bottom parts of these would be in shadow. So anyway, I hope that helped you out. Again, the file that you sent me I couldn't open. So send it to me again, and hopefully I can help you out with that one. Cool. Okay, let's see if we got any other questions. Oh, there's nothing now. Yeah, this is Manga Studio 5 for the pencil. No thanks. Okay, so again, the show's for you guys. So if you guys have any comments or questions, just leave it in the chat. And please just make it all capital so that I can see it. Yeah, that'd be great. So I think what we're going to do is move on to a little bit of the inking here. Just turn that blue as well. Actually, whoops. Let's turn it red. God damn it, Will. Alright, so Will would like to know some background rendering. What are we going to do here? Alright, so let's draw bricks, I guess. So we'll make a panel. Oh my god. So we'll do 1 point perspective. Just keep it some tips and tricks. There's kids in this stream. You gotta watch your mouth. Filthy. Alright, so I'm just trying to get the grid work in here for the buildings. John, are you getting more used to 5 for inking, or is it just something you don't like still? I haven't messed around with the inking tools too much in 5 just yet. So I do most of the work right in Manga Studio 4. I would like to stay in 5 if I can. Going back between 2 programs is a pain in the butt. But yeah. Okay, so this is our panel. Actually, here we'll use the inking tool. Turn. Is it correction? No. There we go. Okay. Just so you guys can see a little better. What the hell am I doing? Alright, so we'll do bricks on that side. And we'll just leave that side open. Okay, so let's get into rendering here. Again, just worry about your light source. We're just going to keep it simple. We're going to say it's come from the top. So all this would be shaded in. Oops, this is brick. What I like to do with brick is pick a side where the shade or the shadow would be, and just kind of like, it feels a little weird, but what you're doing is you're just kind of pressing and then not pressing.
Looks like an old TMNT panel.
Good. Just so what this effect gives is line weights when there really isn't any, and you could just walk away and leave it like that. Some people like it like that. But the next step I would do here is just actually add the rendering. So it gets lighter at the top, heavier at the bottom, and always go away from the light. And I would definitely check out David Finch for this kind of stuff. That's where I get my inspiration for this. He does really good background work if you like this kind of render detail stuff. One other effect you can do is still do this, but add another one inside of it, and it kind of makes it look like it's like chipped paint a little bit. And you'll just render around it. Then put your line weights on there and just go in an opposite direction for like the chunk that's on top of it there. And you could also do like a Arthur Adams kind of style, where he'll do small feathering like this. Again, going towards the light source. We'll just put some extra lines everywhere just to make it look gross. Pardon? So that looks pretty greasy and horrible, but hopefully that gives you guys a little something to look at. I don't know what we could do for the other one here. I don't know. Did that help at all, or is it?
Looks greasy.
Yeah, he's been watching the show too.
I can tell.
Alright, let's get rid of this crap.
He said that helps.
Okay, cool. Cool. Ah, crap, I forgot I can't ink in this software. Shit. Oh, you know what? Maybe we're going to use this as an experiment. We'll do some inking in here. Alright, let's ink this big ripped dude. How big is this brush? 1.2. Alright, let's save it and give this thing a heart attack. What's this guy look like? Excuse me, it's taking a while to save. No, it's hot in here. It's okay. That's okay. So this inking tool feels a lot different. Feels more. I don't know. It does feel more responsive, but it feels kind of loose. It's hard to describe. It's not bad. But yeah, I could definitely see eventually just working in Manga Studio 5. I know Will, he prefers, I don't know if he's changing his workflow a little bit, but he prefers, from what I know, he can speak for himself in the chat if he'd like, of Manga Studio 4's brush, or pencil, sorry. I was never really a fan of it. I would usually just ink with the... Or I would do my rough pencil work with the Maru brush, the exact same brush that I would ink with. So, but I have heard a lot of people say the same thing, where they prefer Manga Studio 4 for a lot of things, and I still do. But the more that I use the pencil tool and stuff, you know, I think most of us would try to be as productive as we can possibly be. And I do believe staying in the same program does help that, unless it's like, you know, things like background work or something that does definitely can require you to like load up like Google SketchUp or something like that. Alright, we'll worry about all that stuff later. Alright, how's this look with that turned off? Feels a little thicker than normal. It's okay. I'll just keep inking away, inking away, inking away. Alright, I wanted to look a little bit more stressed out here. So let's just get rid of these muscle lines. Even if it is a little incorrect, that's okay. Alright, how long has this sucker been going for? 30 minutes, cool. Let's look at this guy's costume here. Okay, so could talk about with you guys here. I posted on Facebook today. A buddy of mine, we met over the weekend here, and he's one of the few guys that I actually know that reads, which is fine. I mean, that sounded actually a little like a little nose in the air kind of statement, but what I mean by that is obviously like novels and stuff, but a lot of my friends, they don't really like to read, which is cool. But anyway, so we meet up almost like once a month, once every month and a half, just to kind of talk about writing, and it's really refreshing. But where I'm going with this is he told me to read the Silmarillion, and I don't know if you guys know about that. A lot of Lord of the Rings had people, they dig it. I tried reading it a long time ago, didn't really care for it, but he told me some stuff in there that I thought was, oh man, I definitely have to read it. And so he told me that he had a audiobook of it. And I don't know about you guys, for those of you that do listen to audiobooks or not, but I asked a question like, does anybody actually read audiobooks or listen to audiobooks? Because like I prefer to have the book, you know, like have that collection of books for whatever reason. And anyway, so today I started reading or finishing a book that I'm reading right now, and I downloaded the audiobook, and then it just kind of clicked. And this is like the stupid part. Most of us artists, right, we're like slaves to the desk, whether it's a computer desk or a computer. And the only real time I have to read is like when you're on in the washroom or before bed, or maybe you've got some downtime somewhere else, or if you can sneak in time throughout the day or whatever. But the audiobook, it just clicked. It's like it just makes sense. If I can listen to that throughout the day at work or wherever, I can start moving through books faster. And then when I have the time at the end of the night to sit down and read or whatever, then you can totally do that. I don't know why I didn't think of it like that before, but I don't know. It's good stuff. So I guess my question is, how many of you guys in the chat listen to audiobooks? And I can totally understand why people don't. They can be a little dry unless you like that kind of stuff. And yeah, it definitely depends who that is, for sure. You know what else kills it? Is like when you can't pronounce a character's name, and you're reading it, and so you make up the pronunciation for it, and you listen to an audiobook and they say the actual name, and you're like, oh, like it kind of ruins that character for you a little bit, as stupid as it sounds. If you guys like fantasy books, I recommend the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. Fuck, that's good. I'll give you the premise for those of you that like magic systems and stuff. What he does with that is there's certain characters, and what they can do is ingest metal, like shavings of like steel, or pewter, iron, stuff like that. And the shavings, they mix it into like a water, and they drink it. And once it's in their belly, they can do what's called burning it, which basically ignites it, and it starts to get rid of the metal. And what it does is it gives you kind of like magic powers or superpowers. So one of the really cool things is they can do pushing and pulling with this one metal. And what they do is they like to throw that type of metal on the ground, and they can push off it to shoot themselves into the air. But this leads into some like really cool fights and stuff like that. And then you can burn it. I believe it's pewter, and then you get like superhuman strength and stuff. But it's a really excellent book. That's the book right now that I'm wrapping up. And that's where I was kind of asking people online if they read that kind of stuff. And I just realized I pooched this big time. This guy's got 4 arms. And I've only drawn 2. Alright, we're going to have to invent some arms here real quick. Alright, let's make a... Hey, Justin. Oh, Drew, yeah, you're reading How to Write Books too as well? Yeah, what books are you reading? I've been reading, what have I read? The Golden Theme, excellent book. Invisible Ink by the same author, that's another awesome book. I got Stephen King's On Writing as a Christmas gift. I've yet to read that one. And Save the Cat, that was an actually really good book. Really enjoy and recommend that one. And now I'm kind of getting into reading mythology and sort of like, I guess, ripping off ideas for those books. But yeah, I'm hooked. Alright, let's just see how this arm's gonna work. If it's pointing down there. Let's put another guy here wrestling this arm. Yeah, that's good. It's a little overlapping action. Wired for story. Alright, let me just write that one down. Wired for story. Alright, thanks, man. Oh, no, yeah, there's absolutely read guys that are doing stuff in comics for sure. There's actually this one fella, I stumbled upon his video on YouTube, and the way he was talking, where he kind of draws or writes and draws in the Marvel method, but then he adds his own little flavor to it, which was really refreshing and cool to hear. I forget the name. Will might remember the channel, but trust me, I used to be one of those guys that thought even art related, where it's if I want to do comics, most of my stuff should come from comics. And I still think that's true to a degree. But if you, I believe anyway, if you're going to get better or just expand your tastes and influences a little bit, you've got to look outside of the medium you're working in, especially comics. There's so many awesome artists out there, or artists that have been, that you can just learn so much and bring that back to your work, right? Get your style a little different. Whether it's literally looking at manga, like I continue to recommend people check out, or if it's watching Disney cartoons, as weird as that might sound, or even just watching animation in general. Oh, I pooched that arm up. Oh, okay, let's fix this up here. So if we got that going there. No, Justin, this is a role-playing book. It's like Dungeons and Dragons, but with superheroes. So what I've been commissioned to do here is draw the artwork for inside of the book, which is really fun and cool to do. I have this one to do, and then the next one will be one for the superheroes. I'll just zoom out here because I know some people are new in the room here. Might be a little hard to see, so I apologize. But it's all these villains attacking a bunch of superheroes. And the superheroes are losing. And then the next one we'll do for the heroes is opposite. The heroes are winning. And the villains are getting their butts handed to them. I want to really pop that bicep up there. And what we should do here is just erase part of the arm that it's overlapping. Let's just take a look at how he's looking without the line underneath him. Looking okay. Okay, Van, I will definitely check. Thank you. I'm reading one book on that. I think it's called Bullfinch's Mythology or Bullfinch's Mythology, and that's real slick too. Man, look at all this. Look at all this stuff. If you guys are watching the recorded version, try to stop by if you can every Wednesday, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If not, just to see this live and ask a question if you got it. But like right now, the chat is just littered with reference and stuff. If even any of this that we're talking about sounds remotely fun and cool, you know, you're missing out. So if you can swing in, if you can figure out a way to make it work. If not, you can always check out the recorded version like we are right now. Alright, maybe this hand here should be punching a dude in the face or something. Alright, let's not forget where the attention is going here to the eye. So as when we get his hand here, I'll make him punching a dude in the face. So we're just gonna block in where his big old meaty hand's gonna be. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to draw over all that cool stuff. Awesome. Robson Inc. is asking, how long did it take you to get comfortable not using the marker to lay down rough lines and go straight into line weights? It's a really good question. I think I would have to go back and actually, I could find out like an actual month or a guesstimate of what month I actually started doing that in. When I first was doing digital work, it was all Photoshop, and it was the Freddie E. Williams method. I think most of us here know about that guy by now. If not, check out the DC Comics Guide to Digitally Drawing Comics. Haven't really talked about that too much in the last little bit, but that changed, I've said it before, changed my life really when it came to not just drawing, but what you could do with digital comics. And my confidence was shit doing line weight or line art, especially, let alone comics, just line art in general, digitally. I tried a lot of tricks to get a similar look and effect, and none of it was really working. But if that's something you're into, check that out. But what his methodology is you would do this rough gesture kind of thing that I've done here, except what you would do is grab like a marker tool. Let's see if I've got a marker here and a felt pen. Does that work? Yeah, well, that'll work. And all you would do is you would just start drawing the lines that you would have for this arm, you know, like that. And then you would make another layer over top of it to do this kind of thing, this contour line over top of it. And then, once you had all that information, it actually looks like, I don't mind it. I think it looks pretty good. But the next step you would do after that is, that's when you get a pressure sensitive brush and then start making your line weights. And like I say, if you're just getting into digital work, it's actually really cool because it gives you that confidence that most of us, myself, I can only speak for myself in this one, but it gives you a little bit of a confidence that you lacked, or that I lacked. And then I found Manga Studio, and I really tried to push forward in that because of what I found it was able to do for just my art, really. You know, I could notice that I was getting improvements on it, and everything was actually looking much better. But I would still do the recommended method from the Freddie E. Williams book there, that methodology of doing it. But what I tried to do was schedule away time to do sketches for myself, where all I would do is load up Manga Studio and just draw with this. And it came actually pretty quick. It's kind of like literally what I'm doing right now is how I ended up making the switch, where except it was for the standard, and it got to a point where I was just thinking, you know what, I've got to try it eventually, and you know, there's only so many sketches you can do until you actually feel comfortable with something, and all you can do is just volume, volume, volume. The more you can draw, the better, and the quicker all this stuff will come to you. And what's really cool is, as you age as an artist, I believe anyway, your retention for learning increases, so it doesn't take as long anymore to actually like sit down and try to learn something new. Your brain kind of knows the way to learn things, like how to retain information that works for you. I find, I don't know if that works for you guys or anybody, but that's how I'm noticing it's working. For a perfect example is like right now, I've inked in Manga Studio before. Manga Studio 5 before. I've tried the inks with my own sketching and stuff like that, and I never really liked the way it looked. It's okay, but I feel like I have more control in Manga Studio 4. But right now, this entire image here so far, like this guy's been inked right in Manga Studio 5, and it actually looks really good. Like, to me, you know, you'll draw your own stuff, and you got a little internal critique artist, and I'm finding that it's fine. I don't think that I'm missing a gigantic portion of how this looks that I should just scrap it and jump right into Manga Studio 4 just because I'm comfortable in it. So I guess that's a long way to just answer your question, where eventually you just got to jump in. And if you're doing it for something that's client related, I think the pressure's on to maintain that quality that you've already been showing that you have and bringing it in. The worst thing that would happen, I would assume, is that it's just not good enough, and you end up having to redraw it in what you know, and that's probably a really expensive way to figure out how far along you really are. So again, I don't even really know if that answered your question at all, but let me just get some more questions there, guys. And we got about 10 minutes left, so if anybody has any drawing questions or anything like that, if you guys need some help or anything that I might be able to help you out with, just let me know. Just toss them in the chat. I'll do my best to get to them. I should say too, if the stream is choppy for you, I don't know what else I can do. I've lowered all of the settings that I possibly can, and it's probably just my internet. Probably depends where you are too, but I am streaming, so it's mostly my fault. I just wish I could do something about that, so my apologies. Drew is asking, John, would you recommend using dual screens or one large screen for drawing comic work? Okay, thanks. Sorry again there, Van, and anybody else that's struggling with the stream. Don't know what I can do, but I apologize, and thanks for stopping by. So to answer your question, what do I think about drawing with two monitors? I would highly recommend it. I know Manga Studio 4, it's a little bit of a bitch to get multiple screens working, but you can. And maybe I should just make a video on that. Let me just make a note, because I know people have talked about it, but dual monitor setup for Manga Studio 4. Okay, so I work on a Cintiq, so it is a screen, but if I had the gigantic one, maybe I wouldn't need the second one. But regardless, the second one's going to offer you more room, and if it does nothing else but give you a spot to put a second window so that you can see your image zoomed out, while, like, especially if you're working digital, most of us work like pretty close like this, right? And the lines start looking pretty nasty and stuff. But when you zoom out, it starts to look good. It looks fine. You don't need to spend as much time on that stuff. So that's why I recommend doing this. But yes, I guess the short answer would be yes. Get as many monitors as you possibly can. It's kind of like working at an art table. And the more room you have, the more room you have, right? And I don't think I've ever heard anybody complain about having too much room. And thanks, Drew. John, is there a way to purchase another product key for Manga Studio 5? I believe so. You could just go to their website, Smith Micro, and just buy one. Unless what you're asking, I mean, I guess that's what you're asking. If not, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how shady you feel about that stuff, but if I bought something, I really don't feel that bad if I'm putting on multiple computers. I suppose if I'm running a business, like let's say I had a comic studio or something, and the license only covered one, then that would be a little bit of a different scenario. And then I would really start concerning myself with that. Alright, let's draw this Iron Man kind of character. How big is this brush? I get used to this. Whoop. Yeah, the same key should. Unless what you have is the upgrade and you need to figure out just a little workaround to like download the old Manga Studio 4. I had to do that. It's pretty poopy. Oops. Whoops, that's pretty effy. Okay, so it looks like we're running out of stuff to say. So we got about 5 minutes left, guys. So if you had anything that you wanted to wrap this up with, any questions or anything, feel free to just toss her into the chat. Alright, so I guess that's going to wrap it up for tonight, you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Again, if you guys missed it or if you just popped in, feel free to stop by next Wednesday, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you're in a different time zone, whatever, just look at the clock right now and subtract an hour. So until next time, I'm just trying to think if there's nothing else I wanted to wrap it up with you guys with, but I think we're good. But anyway, thanks again for everybody that stopped by. Sorry to those that had a little bit of problems with the stream, but talk to you in the next one. So take care, keep reading comics, keep making comics, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye.